Hello, and welcome back to The Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. One of the places in my life that I have found the most margin, that as part of my minimalism journey that I have rid myself of, is paper. I am so thankful that I decided to go on a journey to be paperless. It was a lot of work at the beginning, but it has really reaped big dividends in my life. I'm very, very grateful for that. And one of the biggest questions that I get when I talk about being paperless is, what about business paperwork? Or maybe some of you are involved in your church. For ourselves, we have some business things, and I take care of all of the paperwork for our church. So anything that I'm sharing with you, these things are interchangeable if you have asked me those questions. What if I told you that you can get rid of that giant filing cabinet? When we're talking about business paperwork, so many times there's so much paperwork involved. And going back and finding the things you need, or just filing the things you need, a lot of you are probably paying for storage. I know that if we had not decided to be paperless, we would need to pay for a storage unit in order to keep all of the different types of paper that we have to keep throughout the years. But thankfully, I have great news. Instead of that giant filing cabinet, you can utilize an external hard drive or even just a flash drive to replace that. Now, I do have a really small little file folder that I keep a few pieces of paper that we do need to keep the hard copies of, but 99%, probably over 99% of our papers are completely digital for business. I will link below in the notes a blog post on my entire paperless system, and this absolutely also will work for your business. One of the biggest things that you have to keep, and you have to keep so many of them, are receipts. So if you go back and you look at a receipt, especially if it's been in the car, but if you look at a receipt that's a few months old, much less a few years old, many times it's really difficult to even read it because those fade extremely quickly. So in order to maintain the integrity of those receipts, the smartest thing we can do is to each month scan those things in. And I will also link my favorite scanner below. If you're looking at going completely paperless, you do need a really good scanner in order to do that. When we scan all these receipts, we're maintaining the integrity of the receipts, and we're also making it where that we can easily find what we need. I save these receipts per month. So for example, if I'm saving receipts for March of 2022, I will say 2022_03 receipts. Now, if there's a receipt for a large purchase, I will save that individually, and I will name that as such so I could easily go back and find that. But just those receipts for that month, that there are things that I know that for tax purposes, I may need to go back and find. I'm just going to save that entire file for those receipts into one file. It makes it really, really simple. So speaking of files, how do I organize this before I scan it? I have 6 file folders, and so they are labeled January and July, February and August, so on. So I have 2 months on each one of those. And that way, if I have some papers for January, I'm going to put those in there. I have some papers from February, I'll put those in there. I usually start scanning about 3 months out. So for example, for the month of March, I will go ahead and then go back and scan for December, because all of those papers have been printed or given to me. And that way I know that I have all of those, but something could come in for February or even for January. So I'm not going to scan those yet. I keep these folders where they're easy to access, and I put the things in those folders, and then I pull that entire folder out and I sit down and I just take a few minutes and scan all of the things in those folders. And then all of that stuff is completely digital. I can shred the things that need to be shredded, throw away the things that need to be thrown away, and I do not have to have a big filing cabinet. I mentioned this when I talked about the receipt, but when you're saving things, think about the file name. So for example, if you have an event that happened this month, and you stayed at a hotel and you need to save that receipt, that you're going to be using that for tax purposes, or your business paid for it and it's just something that you need to keep, you can save that as 2022_03, write down the name of the event or type out the name of the event and the hotel, or you can just even say hotel receipt. Whatever you think of that you would think of when you go back to find that. There's really no right or wrong way to save your file names. You need to think of how your brain works and what is going to be best for you. What do you think of when you think of that event? If you want to go find a receipt, what is something that comes into your brain And whatever system works for you, create that system and use that to save those files. The fourth tip I want to share is about your digital filing cabinet. So we really do have a filing cabinet. It's just completely digital. It's on that external hard drive or it's on that flash drive. So when we put that in our computer, we put that in and we pull that up. If we don't have a system for saving those things, we will just have hundreds of files. What I do is I save each month. So for example, I'm going to have a file that says 2022_03. For my system, it will not let me save a dash. So I use an underscore when I'm connecting the year and the month. And everything involving, for my business, everything involving that month, I'm going to put into that folder. So then eventually I'll have 12 folders. Once the year is over, I'm going to create a file that says 2022. And then I will just move all of those folders into that. So as you can see now, when I go and I put that flash drive in and I pull that up, I have 2003, 2004, 2005, or 2019, 2020, 2021. Rather than hundreds of files, those are categorized into file folders. So begin to think of that. This is your filing cabinet. It's just a digital filing cabinet. And it still can be extremely organized and make it very easy for you to find exactly what you're looking for. Last but not least, let's talk about hard copies. Now, I am not a tax attorney. I am not your accountant. You need to talk to your accountant. You need to talk to your tax attorney before you go and get rid of all of your paperwork. This is what has worked for me. So that is just a legal disclaimer there. I am sharing with you what I do for our business and for our paperwork. What I have found is that, especially in this world of digital signatures, for my company, we use DocuSign. So you digitally sign paperwork, and it is considered a legal document. Many pieces of paper, even with signatures, can be scanned in, and that can be saved. But again, you want to check with your tax attorney. You want to check with your legal counsel before you shred certain pieces of paper. There are things that I know that we do need to keep hard copies of. If there is a document that has been notarized, you need to keep that copy. You can scan it in to keep a digital copy of it, absolutely, to have an additional copy, but that is just that, it's a copy. If it is a document that has been notarized, you need to keep that document. So again, check with your tax attorney, check with your accountant, and see what items that you must have the physical pieces of paper of. I think that you will find that it's a very small list, and the rest of your pieces of paper, you will be able to make them go away by creating a digital copy of those and saving those to your computer, saving those to a hard drive, saving those to a flash drive. I do want to add about security. If anything has social security numbers or it has private information, you never want to save those to a cloud-based program. Those really are not secure at all. They're accessible to anyone. I utilize Evernote, and I use that to save recipes or to save business cards or things like that. But I do not use that for any of our business or personal documents. I save those on a flash drive. I don't even save those on my computer because my computer is connected to the internet. I will securely erase any copies that are on my computer and just have the copies that are on that flash drive. So be sure to think about your own security and the security of your business. Over the last several years, I have consulted with several businesses and churches that have decided to go paperless. And if you want to check out my website, you can hire me to help you with that as well. But the majority of them have come back to me and said that they are so grateful that they made this decision. No longer do they have to have these huge filing cabinets or even pay for a storage unit in order to save those documents. They can securely have them saved on a flash drive or on a hard drive, and they have banished the paperwork for good. It is really a great way to banish clutter as well, because paper can add up to clutter so easily. I would love to hear from you. What questions do you have about going paperless with your business or with your church? And maybe I'll answer those in the next video. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you'll be notified when the next video goes live.